like our president Donald Trump is the leading factor in the shadow for pushing this thing forward, because on March 20th he came on live television and said that, and I quote, "Look, everyone know that it came out of China, but I decided we shouldn't make any more of a big deal out of it. I think I made it a big deal. I think people understand it after saying that this is called the China virus or the Chinese virus." I feel like, in a sense, very reaching. He does have a point. Like, this is the China virus, but it's not like, just because it comes out of China, it doesn't mean that it's the Chinese virus. You know, like, they have a name for this virus for a reason, and to overgeneralize this virus and call it the Chinese virus like this, like, it's very uncomfortable for most Asian people, especially the stereotype going around that, oh, you know, like, what, like, if you're Asian, then then you're Chinese already. Like, not enough people are already educated enough on that subject. So I feel like most Asian people nowadays are having a very difficult time, especially older Asian families that have to go out and do all the grocery shopping. And personally, for me, I feel like, you know, like, when I'm out in public, I have to squeeze in my cough here and there. I can't even be myself, basically. Like, I have to watch, like, after seeing all these videos of, like, racism on Asian people, I have to watch myself. Like, I'm constantly looking back, like, to check out my surroundings, to make sure that me and my family are in a safe place, whether we're at Costco or Target or wherever.
Well, see, like the thing about it is like where the relationship between race comes in. I don't know if you guys remember way back when the Ebola virus came about.
Mm-hmm.
Who they talk about?
Black people.
Right. So, well, for black people to act the way they're acting now, to treat certain, you know, Asians, that's the way they're treating them. I know it's not just white people. There's black people doing it too. Because the video that we seen yesterday, that was a black guy, clearly, clear as day, trying to mess with that little Asian lady. Like, let her be. Like, let her live her life, you know? And it's not fair. It isn't fair.
Like, people think it's funny. Like, I get it. Like, even if that video was fake, like, they're trying to, like, make light of a situation of the pandemic that is going on. I feel like it's just not right. Like, you know, like, you have an older Asian lady, probably in her 70s by now, and, you know, you're chasing her around like a little kid, harassing her, trying to put hand sanitizer on her, and, you know, that to me, that's just disgraceful. That's
Yeah,
unacceptable.
yeah, I think it's a problem that like stems larger and just outside of the virus is people don't understand like other people's perspectives. I mean, I can't, like in that video that we watched, it was an older Asian lady, but people don't put themselves in that old person's shoe. You know what I mean? That same person who was videotaping that lady and trying to get her to, put hand sanitizer on her and just like harassing her in an unnecessary environment. One day he's going to be old, right? And let's say he is black, maybe another Ebola outbreak or something more serious comes out and he's that 60-year-old and, kids, I don't want to say kids, but young adults or people are putting a camera in his face, be like, oh, like here's some hand sanitizer, here's some soap. If we all kind of like at the moment, I know it's hard for us sometimes too, because we just think about ourselves all the time, but man, if we could just put ourselves in those person's shoes, we wouldn't be doing stuff like that because we wouldn't want something like that being done to us. And it's, like you said, it's whether people think it's funny or not, like a lot of people do kind of shady or just shitty things for clout, like on TikTok, Instagram. You always see it, like people are playing pranks on their friends, their parents, their children even, and just like, bro, like all for some likes. It's like that, what I mean? Like there's more to life than just likes, the comments, or some nice ratings on a social media platform,
Yeah,
But
so that, go ahead, Mac.
like, all right, I don't know if you guys remember this. You guys remember Friday After Next?
Yeah.
The guy was messing with the old lady in front of the liquor store,
Mhm.
and then who was she related to?
Ooh.
Some gangsters, some gangbangers, right?
Yeah.
You don't know who these people are related to, and you're out there messing with them,
Mhm.
right? Next thing you know, somebody shows up at your house or shows up and sees you at the same area and they do something to you. Now, are they at fault? In a way, yes, but you mess with somebody that's dear to them, somebody who they love. You know what I'm saying? Like, people got to think about that too. Like, what if that was your mom? What if that was your grandma? What if that was your sister? What if that was your cousins? What if that was your nieces, your daughters? Like, think about shit like that. They don't. They're not awake yet.
Yeah, so I feel like I feel like I'm a firm believer of there's always a cause and effect in this lifetime, you know? So what caused this virus? Basically, you can say the Chinese people, whoever it is. There's always something to blame on something. Whatever happens, there's always someone to blame, and I feel like they're not thinking. I feel like that's the biggest problem. Like they're not thinking, and they're just acting irrational, trying to blame the Asian people and trying to make themselves feel bad for bringing this virus to the U.S.
Yeah, I think society could be definitely a big blame you culture, right? Like when unemployment was like kind of high, it was like, oh, all these Mexicans are coming in and stealing our jobs, and all these undocumented people from south of the border, whether it's from Mexico or other Latin American countries, they're coming in and stealing our jobs. That was what a lot of white people were saying, right? And then now with
Mhm.
this disease, it's like, oh, we want to pin it on somebody. You can even go back in history, look at Nazi Germany. Hitler basically pinned all of Germany's problems on the Jews, and so that is what started, like, all the Holocaust and all that shit. And so I just feel like, and I'm sure you can go back further and further. I don't have all those notes on me right now, but you can go further and further in history, and like whenever there's something wrong, we like to blame one particular group of people, and that way it kind of makes us feel like better about ourselves. But in reality, like things like this are uncontrollable. You know what I mean? There's always going to be outbreaks. There's been outbreaks in history like this before. This is obviously new to us and people like in our generation, because we've never had something like this in our lifetime this serious. But it's definitely happened before. You just look up your history books.
I'll go to further for you, Noah. So Hitler got his ideals from this Egyptian goddess uh, back in the day. She used the swastika as her logo, but Hitler flipped it to make it his. But if you go back into the Egyptian times, who did the Egyptians enslave?
The Jews too.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's your further, and that's his mindset going toward with it. But you ever heard of the saying "driving while black"?
Mhm.
Right. So there's a slur that's come up about. I read about it yesterday, to be honest, and it says coughing while Asian. How disgusting is that? Like, think about it. Like, so just because they're Asian, they're coughing, it means they have the virus, and you're susceptible to it. No,
Hmm.
like it's just, I don't know. People always talk about like this social distancing thing. How about the social injustice?
Hmm.
Where does that come into play? Like, who is having everybody's back? I don't care if we're Asian, black or white, whatever. Who's having each other's back? Somebody has to. Somebody has to stand up and say, "Hey, enough is enough." In your own words, Noah, cut that shit out.
Yeah, exactly. And especially too, all three of us have worked with kids in a predominantly Asian area, right? There's a lot of Asians
Mhm.
within the kids we work with. And just think about like I remember before the schools got canceled, there was, because obviously everyone knew what coronavirus was. We didn't know it was going to shut down our schools or anything, but even amongst friends at the middle school age, like kids were making fun of each other, especially they were targeting the Asians at that school, whether it was a lot of them or just a few of them. Anytime they coughed or sneezed or looked sickly, they're like, oh, what I mean? It was, so it's all age levels, right? It's from that old lady in the video that we were watching, or, even kids at elementary and middle schools.
See, and that's the worst because don't we always preach stop the bullying? right? Like
Yeah.
bullying is wrong. Like be the standout. Stop. Don't be the bystanders. I and with us, with as adults, I feel like we have a better way of handling it because we've been in the world. We know how to change our perspective through life. But what about these little kids that are being affected? You know, what about the older Asian population that doesn't deserve to go through half of the shit that I'm about to show you guys? Like they don't deserve it. Like it's like as as someone to stand behind, like we need, instead of attacking one another for especially the Asian population for this, why don't we stand together and be together and help fight this together? So with that being said, I will send you guys video clips that I have personally collected. I will send one by one, and the video that Noah and Mac will be watching will be on the screen. First video that I'm sending Noah and Mac is of this supposedly singer, Latina singer, making racist comment about Asians on IG Live.
Sorry, not trying to be racist or anything, but every time I see a Chinese person, I go, don't breathe. He says the Chinese virus. I mean, it came from China, so it's the Chinese virus. I'm not giving a fuck what y'all people in the internet gotta say.
Disappointing, man. Disappointing, for sure. You know, I never understood it. Yeah, and I think it's cool that we have good diversity here on this show. We got Mexican, an Asian American, and an African American. And it's I don't get like why, you know what I mean? Like Hispanics get made fun of all the time. They get teased all the time. Like why would, you know, I don't understand why minorities don't stick together, you know? I think I have extended family that don't like particular ethnicities, right? They don't like, they make, some of them make jokes about Asians, some of them make jokes about blacks, but at the end of the day, it's like we're all being, eventually at a certain point in history or another, we were always like oppressed, or we were always thought less of. So like why are we like teasing each other? You know what I mean? Like we should be like more unified and kind of building together and stuff like that. Be teaming up against the people who are oppressing us. You know?
But think about it this way though. Okay, who's the front line? Who's like the top nurses, especially out here in California,
Yeah, Asian Americans most of the time.
right? So they're over here talking all this nonsense, but at the end of the day, who's there day and night, missing time with their kids, their husbands or wives, what have you, losing sleep, like sleeping on the dirty floor, just so they can make sure you're better,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you love them when you love them, but you hate them when you hate them. That's not fair. Like it's either love or hate. Like you got to pick one, because
Mm-hmm.
supposedly, like remember back in the days, like growing up as a kid, me personally, like I grew up watching all the Jackie Chan movies, like Jet Li's and all of that, right? We all wanted to be them. We're like, damn, oh, like let me get one of those. Now I dare one of them, any one of them that's racist, to talk about one of them. I dare them. Go out to their restaurant and eat their food. I dare you. Because if you're gonna disrespect them like that, why should they appreciate you and their culture? You know? And that video right there is like, it's the epitome of what discrimination is. Because like for someone like her who is a Latina, talking about somebody of a minority race,
Mm-hmm.
especially California is known for Asians and Mexicans, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's blacks, there's whites, but it's known for that. Like everywhere you go, like there's, because the Vietnamese, most of them move out here, the Japanese, the Koreans, and so on and so forth. They all move out here. But for a Mexican person to sit there and say all this, like when they sneeze,
Mm-hmm.
girl, like what's wrong with you? Like who's educating? Who's raising you? And that's one of the reasons, like us, where we have a platform to educate these kids, to tell them, hey, racism is not cool. Like for example, like for me, like a lot of these kids, like they've never seen a black man. They probably have on TV, like on thing, but they've never seen one in person. So when they finally see one, they ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
I answer their questions honestly, you know. I'm like, yes, not all black people are rappers. Not all black people, do this and do that. But they don't know because that's what they see on TV. They ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
But that right there is pure ignorance. And that's what I was telling Ben earlier. Ignorance is bliss. Like, it's one of those things, like, you could try to sit there and beat a horse to drink water. Is it going to drink water?
Mm-mm.
No?
Can't force it. And
But
going
what's
back,
crazy? Sorry about that. Now, go ahead.
I was gonna say, going back to what he said earlier about the medical standpoint. I know, like, the doctor that I visited most recently, because my primary doctor, she moved states or whatever. But so the doctor I have now, my primary doctor, he's of Korean descent. You know what I mean? So like you said, there's a lot of Asian people who are working in the front lines in the medical field. Because I know a lot of doctors, especially at the Kaisers that I go to, are predominantly Asian.
It's funny because I'm actually sending you guys video clips on certain aspects, like different perspectives that are going on with the Asian racism. I actually left out a video clip that I saw yesterday where a Chinese doctor, okay, he went to a grocery store. Actually, no, he went to a gas station for some gas, and he walked in, and the sign said that if you are feeling ill or if you are sick, please don't come in because we're trying to prevent the spread of the coronavirus, which makes sense. But when this doctor came in, he was refused service. Why? Because he was Asian. And guess what? This is the doctor that cares for cancer patients, for patients that has symptoms of the coronavirus. And that is just utterly insane that just because an Asian man comes in and they immediately refuse service. Going back to that singer, I feel negativity spreads quicker than positivity because ever since our president Donald Trump came out and said that it's a Chinese virus, you can tell that from that video, that IG live video that she posted, that she been listening to Donald, that what he said spread it on to her. And I looked at her profile. She had another 8.2 million followers. So imagine how much that is going to spread within those 8 millions becomes another 8 millions when they keep spreading like that.
But think about it, man. She has the platform, right? She has a platform to where she could make an impact. Why is she using it in the way she is? Like, that's the thing. Like, she's young. I think she has that young mindset, but that's still not an excuse.
Exactly. Like, she has 8.2. Like, she has the platform to spread positivity. Why is she doing the opposite?
And think about it too, like, she's a Latina, you said, and out of those 8.2 million followers, let's just say like 20% are young Latina girls, right, in the United States, and they see that and they think that's okay, and so they'll go and do it with their friends, and it spreads to another, couple hundred or couple thousands of people, and it just, I mean, like you said, she has a big platform, bigger than all of us, right? Hopefully we get a platform like that one day, but she has a bit bigger platform, and any celebrity does, or any actress, any athlete. They have such a big platform that if you spread negativity, you could potentially, like, you might think that's just a joke, right? But other people maybe not necessarily get the context of it. Somebody might have just seen that on that video, that brief clip, and think, okay, that's cool to say because she's an artist and I like her music, and I look up to her. But if she said that, it's clearly okay to see that with what, again, whatever anyone else has said to me about saying those kind of things,
But think about it this way too, right? Like, she has 8.2 million followers. Let's say out of that 8.2, 20% are Latina and Latinos, and then 20 to 25% are young Asians who are aspiring singers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, you could lose all of that just because of what you say. What you say has an impact because, especially nowadays, social media with cyberbullying and all this stuff now, like, things are hitting kids a lot faster than it used to back in the day. So let's just say if the kids have suicidal tendencies and you're over here making fun of them, and now they're stuck at home. They're stuck at home and nothing to do. What do you think's gonna happen 9 times out of 10?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what you say have an impact on people, whether you think of whether you see it or not. Like it has an impact.
Especially when we're stuck at home, like you said too. Like news would be popping everywhere, and everybody would approximately get the same news almost about the same time, because we live in a world where we're constantly revolved around technology. So imagine that.
Yeah, everyone's getting news faster, right? Because everyone's at home, they're not at work or not at school. But then going back to what Max said too, I think it creates a lot of like hate. You know what I mean? Like it continues these stereotypes from older generations past, right? Like an Asian person of Asian descent or Asian background, ethnicity, they see that and they're gonna develop a hate for all Latina people, right? Or all Latinx people, all Latinos, Latina, throughout their life, whether it's someone they go to school with, someone they eventually work with in the future, someone, you know, that they live with, a neighbor, and they just develop a certain hatred that can sometimes last a lifetime, all off of just one silly post like that, all of off one city video, whether it was a joke or not, that could kind of stick with someone and stick in someone's mind for a very long time.
You ever heard the saying, behind every joke there's a kernel of truth?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So what she said it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's that. And it sucks. It really does, because like growing up in Florida, like we didn't have too many Asian folks, right? Like there was a few Filipinos here and there, a few Vietnamese here and there, but I didn't know nothing about none of them. It wasn't until I moved here and I learned about all their cultures, all their stuff, and I'm like, I was fascinated. Like, you know, as like Ben could attest to this. I hung out with Ben like pretty much every single day, just so I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn like about the culture, and then he'd teach me. He'd be like, "Hey, if you do this, if you say this, if you do that," and I'm like, "All right, cool, cool, cool." You know, because we live in an area where that's pretty much all we have out here. I mean, there's other races, but when you live in a community that takes care of their community, you just grow to appreciate everything that's around you. And the kids that we deal with, they're the ones that's going to become future doctors. The one that's going to become future lawyers. The ones that's going to take care of us when we're older. And if they're hearing all this negativity, do you think they're going to want to come out when this is over? They're going to want to stay home because people are still going to think that they're affected still. You know, they're going to like, oh, I want to stay home because I don't want to get bullied. And it's just becoming one of those scary world right now. Like it's like literally living in a movie right now.
Mm-hmm. One of the classes I took at Golden West College when I was in community college, it was a multicultural communication class. And I think, you know, it was cool that they offered at the community college level, but not everyone has a chance to go to community college. Not everyone has a chance to like, you know, take that class because it's not required. It was like an elective class for communications, AA. But I think it'd be cool, like if, you know, after learning so much, not just about, and because it was in Golden West, they did touch a lot about Asian culture and Asian ethnicity and people of Asian backgrounds. But they also talked about a lot of like Mexican and Latino backgrounds, and also whoever was in the class, she tried to get as many backgrounds, perspectives as she can, and we also study up on more. But I think it'd be really cool to get something like that in high school and middle school or even elementary school and start them young because, like I said, not everyone has access to go to a second level of education like the community colleges or four-year universities. Put that in public schools so that we can kind of set the bar from a young age and these kids understand other people's cultures. And I think when, you know, like you said, sometimes ignorance is bliss, but I think when you teach a kid something like that, they will have they're more willing to learn, right? Versus like a 35 or 40-year-old who has already a preset way of thinking for such a long time. If you teach that to a kid in different cultures, I think there'll be a different level of respect earned.
Definitely. I definitely agree with all the points that both of you guys made. I feel like, you know, like to certain ages, like like once they like all we can do is educate them, but once they go home, we don't know who's disciplining them at home, who's educating them at home. So it's important that as for us, you know, like for educators, we have to educate them the right way. So I feel like, middle school is approximately the right amount of age level to start learning about the different ethnicities and cultural and traditions from different backgrounds. But with that being said, I would like to send you guys the second video, all right?
Got it.
While he's sending
So
the
this
video, I have a quote for us. It's from the governor of New Jersey. He says, "There's a special place in hell for the coronavirus discrimination." Just keep that in mind.
I like that. Who said that again?
It's the mayor of New Jersey. The governor of New Jersey. I'm sorry. The governor of New Jersey.
Hey, shout out to that governor, man.
Counter which quickly escalated to physical violence when one of the alleged victims was spat at.
Oh, that one? Yeah, I seen that one. Australia?
Australia, so not only like racism, it doesn't just occur here in the US. As much as we hate to admit it, even though everybody claims that they're not racist anymore, everybody still have a little racism inside of them.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm racist as hell. But I'm racist against everybody equally. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I just don't discriminate. There's a difference. I could be racist. I could make stereotypical jokes because within my group of friends. That's
Mhm.
my level of racism. As far as me going out of my way and just messing with somebody out of pure hate, that's not in me.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And I think a lot of
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think a lot of it stems from our upbringing too, right? Like as kids, we look up to our parents, other family members, uncles, aunts, grandparents, and all that stuff. And if you hear them talking bad about a certain group, like I said, I have extended family that I'm not proud to say, they always make Asian American jokes. They always make jokes about black people. They make jokes about, because Mexicans have this thing against El Salvadorians. They'll make jokes against El Salvadorian people. So, like you hear that from such a young age at 4, 5, 6 years old, you think that's normal. And you constantly hear it at family outings, family gatherings. By the time you hit, 18, 20, you've heard that so many times that like when someone else tells you the opposite, you're like, no, that's not true. Like I heard this, growing up for a long time that this is what they do or this is how they act. So you have these preset notions from people that you're surrounded by and family.
That's why, like, I'm big on giving everybody the benefit of the doubt, like, because yes, everybody has their preset notions, but why not go out of your way to try to learn about that, like I said, like for me, like I had to go out of my way because living out here, I had to. And this video really was the first video that caught my attention. And then where people in New York were getting, because New York has the like what they call it town. So there's Chinatown in New York, Chinatown in LA, San Francisco. Where else is there? Chinatown,
Philadelphia.
New York,
Philly. So keep in mind, you have all these places that have Chinatown, and this virus is what is our president calling it? The Chinese virus, right? So you put that together, and especially when you know the like, excuse the name that I'm about to use right now, the KKK, they're about to, they know that they've been on a rampage. Now he's giving them a target in a sense, right? Because they're in a secluded area because that's just their little environment, their little community that they're living in, they're thriving in, they're just living their lives, right? Now let's just say one day people decide to go over there and do something stupid, right? Because all it takes is one person, one. Because I work right next to an ammo place, and I tell you, the line for the ammo place is ridiculous. Like every single day, there's a huge line for ammo. What do you need bullets for? Who are you trying to kill? What do you think? Who are you gonna shoot? The coronavirus? You can't shoot it because it's a virus. Like you just get sick. It takes 2 weeks to get out of your system, and you sit your behind down, and you just chill at home. Not rocket science, but you need bullets for what? You plan on doing something bad. If you're buying bullets, you're planning on doing something bad. And that's just my opinion. Like, it's just, I don't know. My mind is blown. Like every single day, I'm more and more like, the term woke is not even the term.
Yeah, feel that one. Shit.
There's actually a news reported that came out saying that the Southeast Asian in Los Angeles are actually rising. More Southeast Asian Americans are buying gun sales, are buying guns and ammos for what?
To protect
Especially
themselves.
during this pandemic.
To protect themselves. That's all it is.
Exactly.
They're protecting themselves. And
Why
I get
is
it.
that? Why
Because
is that?
other people are buying guns. If you look online, I could tell you right now, yesterday I was just passing through. There was an article that said FBI has cleared over 3.5 million people to get weapons. 3.5. And that was just what? In 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. I think
And
people.
then
Go ahead.
there's another report that says 650 racist acts just last week against Asian Americans of racism, acts of racism against Asian people. Just 650 just last week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you put a gun in that person's hand, what do you think they're going to do?
Some stupid shit.
I
mean,
swear,
I'm not
like,
an
once
advocate
everything comes down,
for
if everything comes down to it, bro, I'm going to go be friends with the Yakuzas and the Triads because ain't nobody catching me slipping. I'm not going to, no. I'm cool.
the last thing we really need right now is more unnecessary deaths too. Like, it's ridiculous that these Asian Americans has to resort to buying guns to defend themselves. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because I think, especially because people see movies, right? Like whether it's comedy like Zombieland or more serious like Contagion and some of the other movies, I kind of highlight this sort of thing. When things go bad, it seems like whoever the bigger person is usually wins the fight, and then if that person has a knife, usually that person wins the fight. If that person has a gun, the person who has a gun in the fight is typically going to win. It's too easy. Everyone wants to grab the upper hand, and they want to be the person in power instead of like using their words and communicating. And it's just, I think it's too easy. It's like it's the easy out, or it's the easy scenario, easiest option to just go ahead and pick up a gun and not have to talk out with someone about how they feel about a certain thing or try and resolve a solution. Instead, just use the gun as force, whether they use it or not, but just to kind of use that to intimidate other people.
Or just follow the governor's stay at home. If you're at home, nobody's gonna do you harm. You're not gonna be susceptible to do harm to anybody else, right? Because supposedly you're at home. But if you're out and about and you come across somebody who's out and about, yes, I get it. You're gonna go grocery shopping. You're gonna go do things. Life happens. But the moment you have that malice in your mind, like you're going out to do harm, that's all you're gonna do is just do harm. Think about the school shootings. That person didn't just wake up that day and was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna get up, I'm gonna start shooting." He planned that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Anything that you like that you do, it's planned out. You don't just wake up and just say, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna walk around. Oh shit, Asian person pop out." No, you plan it. Like you don't just carry a gun for no reason. You know what you're gonna do with it. And that's a sad world we live in.
All right, I got an idea for the cut that shit out segment. I think we could maybe that's like the segment that we end the show on, and it'd be like, all right, now we're gonna wrap things up with like a cut that shit out segment where we talk about one thing that we have seen in the past, whether it's coronavirus related or racism related or not, just like something that you would want to cut that shit. I guess try and make it related to this, but something different than all. Each person has to say something different, so it's not all three of us repeating the same thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, there's actually 2 more videos that
Okay.
I had for you
My
guys.
bad. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead and send those videos.
Bro, it gets more intense, bro.
Yeah? All right.
Trust me. Yeah, I was waiting, bro.
All right. Send them.
Well, Ben, as if you didn't know, I'm already mad. So keep that in mind.
I am sending the next one. The next one is very, very
Right, I got it.
triggering.
All right, I'm gonna mute myself just so I can watch it.
Yeah.
March 14th in Midland, Texas, where, quote, 3 Asian American family members, including a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, were stabbed. The suspect indicated that he stabbed the family because he thought the family was Chinese and infecting people with coronavirus. A 2-year-old and a 6-year-old attacked, which tells you how nonsensical and ignorant this all can be.
Oh my God. Oh my God. He used the right term in that video.
Now, let me ask you, Matt, what do you think of the video?
He used the right word in there. I'm waiting for Noah to finish. Are you done, Noah?
Yeah, I just finished it. Go ahead. Get it off your
The
chest.
last word he used, the nonsensical. That's a word right there.
Yeah, it is.
That's a word right there. Like, you think about it, like a 2-year-old and a freaking 6-year-old. What are they gonna do to you?
Out here spreading coronavirus, supposedly.
Fucking disgusting.
All the kids want to do is play and live. Like, that's all they want to do. What are they gonna? You really had to stab him and look. By the look of the video, the kid looked like he almost lost his eye. That guy's disgusting.
And think about it, that kid's gonna have that scar for his entire life, and he may develop some sort of hate for that type of people, ethnicity. Right? In the picture, it looks like he's Hispanic, Latin American. That's unacceptable, though. You know, like that's crazy. Like that people have that sort of mindset to do harm to that young of a person.
I almost threw up.
It's straight embarrassing just because he thought that they were out to spread the coronavirus. Like who in the right mind would think that a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old is out to spread the corona? Who in the right mind?
They out there playing patty cakes and spreading it like that? Like, is that what they're thinking?
You know what this reminds me of, Mac? It reminds me of that George Zimmerman guy who I forgot what was his name? The man that he killed? Teenage boy.
Oh, Trayvon
Martin, who was just walking down the street and he thought he was up to no good until he thought he took it into his own hands to take someone else's life. That's just crazy that people have that kind of mentality.
But what are kids gonna do to you? Like that is just like, if I was mad before, I don't know where I am right now.
It's like a mixture
I'm almost at tears. That's because I work with kids. Like I've worked with kids that age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
it's a mixture of anger, man, and fucking disappointment and fucking sadness. Like you said, the tears. Like I definitely had to hold those back hearing that little news segment.
Like how I want to be able to understand how you guys are feeling. Like I know you guys are feeling speechless right now. Like I can tell it by the way that you guys look and just by saying that, you know, it's embarrassing and all that. And yeah, I definitely agree. But can you imagine if that was like, imagine if it was your son or your daughter, if somebody went up and do that.
Yeah. And like it hasn't
all hell would break loose with me.
Yeah, no, like for sure. Like it hasn't. That's the thing. People don't have this perspective of like other people, right? Like that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, what if I have kids one day and I have a 6 and 2-year-old, and this crazy virus comes out of Mexico, and people are like, oh, it's the Mexican virus, and my 6 and 2-year-old are just like riding their bike in the street, and someone takes it out in their own hands to, you know, do something like that. Like that'd be crazy, dude. You'd have to like. You know what I mean? Like I would even say hold me back like that, because I'd be like so filled with frustration and anger and want to like you know put hands on that person who did that, and obviously that's just where my mind was, is like put into perspective. If that you were put in that situation, dude, that's crazy. That's not unacceptable.
Here's a serious question though. I wonder how many people who has had like a bunch of who had Asian friends and like lost ties with them just because of this. Right?
Yes.
Think about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they're calling it Asian virus. Like if they're your true friends, you would stick by them regardless, right? But some people, like I said, ignorance is bliss. They don't know what they don't know. they hear Asian people have it, guess where they're gonna go? Elsewhere. And like it really like I'm really wondering how many people like stop being friends with people just because of that.
Shady, bro. Shady.
Ben, send the next one because I'm already irate. So I kind of want to get this level of anger out of me. So
You want the last one? Are you sure you want the last one?
Let's see it. Let's see it.
I'm pretty sure, man. Because
I'm bracing myself.
The last one, in my own opinion, it kind of bothers me a different way. It's a different type of anger. For someone that is trying to live, trying to make some money in during this time of pandemic,
hold on,
and
let me
they're
watch it
doing
real
this
quick.
to him. Watch it.
Look, he's scared, OG. Crack his shit. You hear this, nigga? Get your fucking ass. Man, hey, go get your kids, man. Go get your kids, man. Go get your kids, man. Don't be scared, nigga. Go get your kids. Go get your fucking kids. Oh, dear. You better go get your kids. That nigga just made a good honey. Nigga. He don't want to hit him up. They all his kids. Huh? Go get your shit. Hell nah, I ain't helping this nigga. I hate Asians, nigga.
Oh my god. Now,
Bro, fuck that guy.
this
Fuck
one,
that guy.
this one hits different, right?
Hey,
I get
not that
why
guy.
you're saying
Hold on. You said fuck that guy, but I'm saying fuck everybody in that video.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they
I'm
didn't
gonna
do
tell
shit.
you why this hit. I'm gonna tell you why this hit differently, man. I see what you're talking about. All right, Noah. I'm gonna use your perspective. I'm gonna use my perspective, and then because we already saw the Asian perspective, right? Now let's imagine a little old lady or a little old man who's selling like the fruits over there, just minding his own business, and somebody does that to him, right?
Yeah.
And then for me, it's like one of the homies out there, trying to do his thing. Black people, we sell too much crap, so. But it's just like you go somewhere where there's a majority of a different ethnic group, and for nobody to even, not one person to even stand out to say, hey man, that's not right. Let the man get his cart. Let him go home to his kids. He's just trying to make a living for his family.
He's hustling to put food on his family's table.
Right.
Is that what he deserves? He reminds me of my dad. Not because he looked like my dad or anything, but he's around that age of my dad. And if my dad was having a lower income job or that he was unemployed and he's doing that to put food on my family's table, how pissed off would I be? The man is just trying to collect cans to resell them, to buy some food, some toilet paper that everybody would be buying shit ton for no reason.
Right. And that's the thing, like, it's just crazy because, hold on, no, if you got something to say it, bro. I'm out of words right now.
He's speechless. He's speechless.
Bro, the first thing that sticks out is like how he's dressed, bro. He's not like in no nice clothing. He's in raggedy clothes. Looks like he's been working like someone of lower socioeconomic society or area, right? Like he's not. I don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? He looked like, I don't know. I just picture like my parents are Asian, right? But I picture like my dad because he works in a job like that where he's coming home dirty, carrying a few different bags from whatever he had to do during work. And I know my grandparents and my uncles have had to work like that. And like I said, it's all about perspective. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he was in a predominantly black neighborhood. Like, what if, like I wanted to move to a predominantly Asian neighborhood, or predominantly, black neighborhood, or predominantly white neighborhood? Like, to see that, and the fact that nobody, like you said in the beginning, Ben, like that no one even like stood up and said, hey, oh, like no one even checked him like real quick. And he's running with the broom, right? This dude's running with the broom to shoo this guy off like he's some sort of like, you know what I mean? Like when you when you want your dog to get out of the house, the way, sometimes you use a broom, right? Or if there's a rat or a possum in your yard, you're gonna use a broom. Like this man used a broom, like as if he was some lower, not
They
even a human
teased
being.
him.
Bro, I know.
They teased him.
Yeah, they egged him
They
on to
teased
come
him.
back.
They mocked him too.
Yeah, when he was crying, bro, that was disturbing.
Oh my god!
I
when
wouldn't
he
even
was
treat the
crying
homeless like that.
Nah,
bro. That's the thing, though. That's the thing. I wish more people would know that homeless Asians, they don't go around begging for money.
mm-mm.
If you
Nah, they
realize
collect
that,
their cans.
they collect their cans. They be collecting they cardboard boxes, the
Pallets.
cans. Exactly. That's the thing about Asian people. Like, I'm not trying to like up my own races or anything, but we are some hardworking motherfuckers out here. You know? We don't go around asking for money. We grind our ass. And I bet you, bro, can you guys give me an estimate of how much those cans could be recycled for?
Bro, he looked like he had a lot of bags, so like easily,
Think
like
about
Like a couple hundred.
yeah, like over 250 at least, I would say.
And how long you guys think it took him to collect that much?
From 3 a.m. probably to that
Yeah,
time of day.
like a whole 10, 12-hour day.
Come on, bro. Come on. If you could collect cans for that whole day for a couple hundred, everybody would be doing it.
Not
I'm
every,
saying about
yeah,
50 to 75 max, bro,
yeah.
for a whole day worth of work like that.
That's easy too. I mean, not a lot of people would be willing to do it, but like I used to do that when I was a teenager and I wanted money to go out and stuff. And my parents weren't always the kind to give me money, so it's like, hey, ask my neighbors, ask family members, hey, you guys got cans, you guys got bottles. It's easy work,
Exactly. But imagine this. This dude be digging in trash cans.
Yeah.
Imagine going through all deep inside the trash cans and collecting and maybe finding like one or two cans per trash can.
Sometimes zero, bro.
Neighborhood to neighborhood.
Yeah. Sometimes zero. I can imagine that, bro.
Like back to what Ben said about the Asians being hard worker. And I personally can attest to that because I see a lot of the work ethic that they have, right? Because a lot of the kids, like, they say it as a joke, but it's seriousness, right? Like, they'll have like straight A's but 1B, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's not up to Asian standards, right? That's how high the standard has been for them because they work so hard, they want to be so successful that, like, it doesn't matter like if you're like the best at what you do, but are you really the best in the world? Are you really the best or in your area? Like that's what they attest to. And I could say I've seen it personally, and for my people, I don't even want to affiliate myself with them, but people like that to do something with such atrocity, such monstrosity, such hate, like to go, like, just let the man be. Like, why tease him? That's what bothered me. Like, they were like, hey, go get it. And then they were messing with him in some false native tongue that they don't even know nothing about, Like, what if you really were insulting him in some word that you were saying that you don't know what the hell you were saying because you were just saying nonsense, right? Now you're insulting him, you're abusing him, and you're stealing his stuff.
What hurts me the most is that when he was crying, bro. When he was crying, and you can see that from not from the phone that was recording it, but you see another person coming up to him, front out with the camera like that, right in front of his face like that. Now, is that any way to treat a human being? Not saying that they haven't already treated him like a human being, but to actually rub it into his face like that.
But think about it, like,
put a phone in.
Noah said it earlier. Like, Noah really said it earlier. Like, people don't know how to be human, right? People will do anything for a like. Like, they'll record, they'll post anything just for a like, just because, like, they think, hey, this is cool to do right now, right? So Noah hit it right on the nose. Like, when he said, people rather get likes than to live life. And it's true. It's true.
Clout chasing, bro.
And out of those 4,000 people, 4,426 people that viewed this, I wonder how many of them had any negative comments toward this. I
Mhm.
wonder.
And
Because
how
I mean,
many
4,000 people seen it.
and how many people laughed at it and then showed it to their friend to laugh at it and then showed it to their friend to laugh at it, you know, like a never ending chain, you know?
Right.
Hey, this is I I want to ask you guys this, but I'm not sure if you guys quite remember. Do you guys know the story about the Mexican ice cream man who something happened to him and they created a fundraiser for him?
No.
No, I can't remember. I would have to look that up. I do remember like there was you mean like not an ice cream truck, but like a guy who pushes the ice cream cart?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh It
I
might
don't
be a
remember
different
that.
one. It might be a different one, but I remember there was a like an older Hispanic lady who was pushing a cart, and some people for a video they like thrashed her cart, and then that's when they created the GoFundMe for her to get her cart again and her license and everything again. But that's the only thing I can remember. That was like 3 years ago, I think, 2 years ago.
Okay. Because I remember something about like a mm, older Mexican dude that I think he got robbed or something, and then they created a GoFundMe account for him, and uh, and basically he got his money back and more. Oh yeah, right here. A 71-year-old grandfather who sells ice cream was left battered and bruised after being beaten and robbed of of his money by two men armed with brass knuckles in North Hollywood too. And what I don't understand is that, like, yeah, like these are two tragedies, but I feel like there is some way that we are able to help this man, like we all helped that 71-year-old ice cream man that was attacked.
Yeah. I wish people like of the community would rally against him, could find him, because with social media, it's very easy to find people nowadays, and you can, like, like you said, because of what happened to that ice cream guy, everyone was willing. People who didn't know him, people from other states and other parts of the world, were willing to donate. I'm sure you could get the same for this man that we just watched the video of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really wonder how many people in this world are actual, like, human beings. You know, like we call ourselves humans, but how many of us are actually human beings? Actually, like trying to make a difference, trying to impact somebody's life,
Mm-hmm.
or try to just by doing the bare necessities, just putting a smile on somebody's face sometimes goes a long way.
Yeah.
So people who are out there like promoting all this negativity, like, why don't you try something different for once? You know?
Or
Any other
maybe even best of all, like, if you see someone just grinding for their shit, why don't you just mind your own business and walk your own way? I mean, that's the least you can do, right?
Yeah.
Don't bother
Right,
him. Don't.
right,
I mean, if you ain't gonna help him, don't bother him, right?
Mm-hmm.
right.
Any other videos?
That's it, sir.
All right. So you guys want to go ahead and hit that last segment of the show?
Let's
I'm
hit
with
it.
it.
All right. So this is the last segment of the show where we like to, it's titled Cut That Shit Out, where we saw something in the news or we're hearing something amongst our group of friends that we just want people to cut out, whether it's something pertaining to the coronavirus, racism, discrimination, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to let Mac, you go ahead and start it off for us.
All right. Stop hurting our youth. They're our future. They're the ones who are going to be our next generation. And hurting them, y'all need to cut that shit out.
Go ahead, Ben.
Cut out the animosity. We at this time of stage, We don't need that shit. You don't know what other people are going through. You don't know their stories. The best you can do is just go your own way, mind your own business, provide positivity if you can. If not, stay home and just mind your own business. You really don't have to go around spreading negativity and false news into everyone's life and making each other's life worse. Cut
Yeah,
that shit out.
that's similar to what I wanted to say. Is I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the past month and a half, I've heard people, whether it's coworkers, friends, family members, oh, they're gonna have a military lockdown soon, and they always go to, oh, I have a friend of a friend who has a higher up connection to the army, and I feel like that's been recycled so many times where I'm just like, yo, this is bad. Like you kind of said, don't be spreading fake news because that adds fear to people. That adds fear to people to go buy 25 rolls of toilet paper instead of just the 3 that they need. You know what I mean? So just cut that shit out. If it's not, you don't have actual facts for it, and you don't have, stuff to back it and fact check it, then don't be spreading, rumors as facts.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks again, guys, for being a part. That's episode 1. Yeah, that's a wrap, right?
It's
That's
a
a wrap.
wrap. Let's cut that shit out.
All right.
Cut that
Dope.
shit out.